When did strict parenting totally backfire? My parents were absolutely convinced that phones would ruin my life. At 14, I was the only kid in my entire grade without a smartphone. While my friends were texting and making plans, anyone who wanted to reach me had to call our ancient landline that sat in the kitchen. The embarrassment was endless. Every time that phone rang during dinner, my mom would announce loudly who was calling, making comments like, "Sophie, it's that Ashley girl again." Or, "Tell them you'll call back after homework." My friends eventually stopped calling because it was too awkward talking to my parents first. I begged them constantly, "Please just trust me with a phone. I promise I won't get distracted." But Dad would always give me the same lecture about how smartphones turn teenagers into zombies and we're protecting your developing brain. Mom would nod along, adding horror stories she'd read online about kids getting cyberbullied or failing school because of social media. The isolation was getting worse. I'd sit alone at lunch while everyone else shared memes and planned weekend hangouts through group chats I couldn't join. I started feeling like a complete outsider in my own friend group. That's when my grandmother stepped in. She thought my parents' rule was completely ridiculous. During one of her visits, she secretly slipped me an old iPhone she'd been keeping in her purse. "Every teenager needs a way to call for help," she whispered, while my parents were in the other. "Just keep it hidden and only use it for emergencies." I was so grateful I almost cried. I kept the phone buried deep in my backpack, never bringing it out at school, never even turning it on unless absolutely necessary. For weeks, it just sat there like a security blanket I never had to use. Then, one Tuesday night changed everything. I was lying in bed around midnight when I heard a weird scraping sound coming from downstairs. At first, I thought it might be our cat, but the noise was too deliberate, too rhythmic. I crept to my bedroom window and looked down at our backyard. A man in dark clothes was trying to pry open our sliding door with some kind of tool. My heart started pounding so hard, I thought it might wake up the whole house. I ran to my parents' room and shook my dad's shoulder frantically. "Dad, wake up. Someone's trying to break in." He groaned and barely opened his eyes. "Sophie, go back to bed. You probably just heard the neighbor's dog." "No, I saw him. He's got something in his hands." Mom rolled over, annoyed. "Honey, you watch too many scary movies. It's just your imagination." I ran back to the window. The man was still there, and now I could hear the glass starting to crack. Panic shot through me as I remembered the landline downstairs was broken. It had been making weird crackling noises for days, and my parents kept saying they'd call the phone company tomorrow. Their bedroom doors were locked from the inside, and they'd made it clear they thought I was overreacting. The only working phone in the entire house was the iPhone hidden in my backpack. I grabbed it with shaking hands and dialed 911. The operator answered immediately, and I whispered our address, explaining that someone was breaking into our house right now. She told me to stay on the line, and that police were already on their way. That's when I heard the sliding door finally give way downstairs. I ran back to my parents' room, pounding on their door. "Mom, Dad, he's inside the house." I called the police. Suddenly they were wide awake. Dad jumped up, fumbling for his phone, while Mom asked frantically how I'd called anyone. "Sophie's phone," I heard Dad yell as he ran downstairs. "Where did you get a phone?" By the time he reached the living room, the burglar had heard all the commotion and was already climbing back out through the broken door. Dad stood there in his pajamas, looking at the shattered glass and the muddy footprints on our carpet. The police arrived 5 minutes later and took statements from all of us. The officer told my parents that if I hadn't called when I did, the situation could have been much worse. "Most home invasions happen when burglars think everyone's asleep," he explained. "Your daughter's quick thinking probably prevented a real tragedy." After the police left, my parents sat me down at the kitchen table. For the first time in months, they weren't lecturing me. Dad looked exhausted, and Mom kept staring at the broken door. "Where did you get the phone?" Mom asked quietly. I told them about Grandma, expecting them to be furious. Instead, Dad just rubbed his forehead and sighed deeply. That weekend, my parents took me to the phone store. My parents were convinced phones would ruin my life, so at 14, I was the only kid in my grade without a smartphone. While friends texted and made plans, anyone wanting to reach me had to call our ancient landline in the kitchen. The embarrassment was nonstop. Every dinner phone ring meant my mom announcing loudly who was calling. "Sophie, it's that Ashley girl again." Or, "Tell them you'll call after homework." My friends stopped calling because it was awkward talking to my parents first. Begged constantly for a phone. Dad gave his usual lecture about how smartphones turn teens into zombies, protecting my developing brain. Mom nodded, adding horror stories about cyberbullying and school failure. Isolated, I sat alone at lunch while friends shared memes and planned hangouts and group chats I couldn't join. Then my grandmother stepped in. During one visit, she secretly slipped me an old iPhone from her purse. "Every teenager needs a way to call for help," she whispered. "Just keep it hidden, and for emergencies." I kept that phone buried deep in my backpack, never using it unless absolutely necessary. For weeks, it was an untouched security blanket. One Tuesday night, everything changed. Around midnight, I heard a rhythmic scraping downstairs. Too deliberate to be the cat. Peering out my window, I saw a man in dark clothes prying open our sliding door. My heart pounded hard. I woke my dad. "Dad, wake up! Someone's trying to break in." He groaned, telling me it was probably the neighbor's dog. Mom dismissed it as movie-induced paranoia. I ran back. The man was still there, glass cracking. The landline was broken, and the only working phone was the iPhone hidden in my backpack. Shaking, I dialed 911. The operator answered immediately. I whispered our address and stayed on the line. The sliding door gave way. I pounded on my parents' door. "Dad, Mom, he's inside. I called the police." Suddenly wide awake, they rushed to the living room just as the burglar climbed back, out. Police arrived 5 minutes later. The officer said if I hadn't called when I did, it could have been much worse. Most home invasions happen when burglars think everyone's asleep. My quick thinking probably prevented tragedy. Later, my parents sat me down. No lectures. Mom softly asked, "Where did you get the phone?" I told them about Grandma, expecting anger. Dad rubbed his forehead deeply instead. That weekend, we went to the phone store. Story 2. When I asked what time the engagement dinner was, my sister said, "Oh, we already had it yesterday." Just close. Family, huh? I sent $6,500 for that dinner. A few days later, she called me in a panic. The card didn't go through. "Did you forget to pay the bill?" I just said, "Didn't I warn you?" My name is Evan. I'm 30. Oldest kid. Default driver. Backup plan. The one who knows where the tax folders are. I work in accounts payable for a mid-sized manufacturer. My superpower is clicking reconcile and actually meaning it. I live in a small apartment over a bakery, so mornings smell like bread and the rent goes up like clockwork. I meal prep on Sundays. I keep a spreadsheet named Everything because it is. My sister Chloe is 27. She's our mom's favorite in a way polite people pretend isn't real. She's loud, shiny, and good at asking for things in a tone that makes no feel like betrayal. Her fiancé Drew sells luxury cars and calls everyone boss. He says family is everything when he wants a favor. My mom Grace is anxious and kind and terrible with money. She saves birthday bags like they're heirlooms and says we'll figure it out when there's a bill in her hand and tears in her eyes. I'm the one who figures it out. 2 weeks ago, Chloe got engaged. She called me from a rooftop squealing, showing the ring like a game show prize. I said, "Congratulations." I meant it. I like good news. I like milestones when they're not invoices. With confetti. Engagement dinner. I asked a few days later because she'd mentioned a restaurant that didn't list prices online. Always a sign. "Yeah," she said. "Casual. We'll do something sweet. Just close family." "Okay," I said. "What time?" There was a pause I could hear, even through the smile in her voice. "Oh, we already had it yesterday," she said. "Just close family." I looked at my calendar. It said Tuesday. It also said I had my usual after-work run, chicken marinade, and call mom blocked off. Nothing about being excluded, Just close family, I repeated. MHM, she said. It was small, intimate. You know how Mom gets. I stared at the dent in my coffee. Table from the time I tried to assemble a bookshelf alone and misjudged a bolt. How do you lose your place in your own family quietly? One RSVP at a time, apparently. Got it, I said. My voice sounded fine. It didn't feel fine. You're not mad, right? Chloe asked. The way people ask as a command. No, I lied. Congrats again. She launched into a monologue about centerpiece ideas and a hashtag. I listened until my ears bust. I pictured my mom at a long table, worrying the napkin between her fingers, saying, "My baby about Chloe while I diced onions in my kitchen for future me." Okay, I said when she finally took a breath. I have to get back to work. Love you, she said, hanging up fast like she ticked off a task. I sat there for a full minute, watching the cursor blink. Then I texted my mom. How was dinner? She sent back 3 heart emojis and a photo of a tiramisu with a sparkler. Chloe's hand, the ring, the sparkle. No, Evan. I let my phone face down itself on the table. I turned the chicken. I ran my miles. I slept badly. My dreams were loud rooms where I'd forgotten a password and everyone laughed. I didn't bring up money. I didn't bring up anything. I shoved the sting where I keep the other small ones. Then a few days later, my phone lit up with Chloe's name in all caps. Evan, she blurted when I answered. The card didn't go through. Did you forget to pay the bill? I stood in my kitchen staring at the faucet I installed crooked. I heard myself say a sentence I'd said 100 quieter times. Didn't I warn you? Here's the part people skip and then wonder why the ending feels mean. It's not mean, it's math. We grew up in a 2-bedroom with pastel walls and overdraft fees. Mom worked retail. Dad left when I was 8, moved 2 states over, and sends holiday texts like he's a brand. Proud of you, champ, he writes, unsure what he's proud of. Chloe arrived with hair bows and a laugh that bought her extra time on every rule. By 15, I was the one who knew the login. I balanced the budget on a notebook page while Mom paced. They charge you for being poor, she said once. Looking at the overdraft fee, I started making lists. Lists turn into spreadsheets. Spreadsheets turn into habits. I learned to make soup. That lasts 3 days. I learned to call the electric company and asked for a payment plan without crying. Chloe learned different things. She learned that if she said, "Please, Mommy," doors opened. At 16, she borrowed my debit card to buy a prom dress to try. The return didn't happen. I ate ramen and told myself it was fine. At 19, she failed a class and asked me to pay the retake fee because I don't want to disappoint Mom. I Zelled the amount and told myself it was love. I added a family line to my budget at $21,200 a month. First, it was grocery runs. Then, it was emergency cash. Then it was, "You're so good with money. Can you front it? And I'll pay you Friday." Friday moved around like an eclipse you can never catch. 2 years ago, Chloe lost a job. She cried at our mom's table while Mom folded and refolded the dish towel. It's just retail. Chloe sniffed. They don't see my potential. 2 weeks later, she posted a photo from Cabo. Caption, self-care. Mom said she needed a reset. I paid the internet bill so Mom wouldn't lose her shows. You think I didn't say words? I did. Calm once. I need you to tell me before you take my card, I said after a mystery charge from Glam Bar and Company. Chloe widened her eyes. Oh my God, I meant to text. You're such a saint. She promised to sell me. She zelled me $40 against a 187 charge and sent a heart. I added a tab named Chloe. Last year, Mom's car died. We sat in a gray waiting room that smelled like burned coffee. The guy said the number. Mom looked at me. I put it on my card and asked her to pay me $50 monthly until it was gone. She paid twice. Then Chloe needed a little help with a deposit for a new apartment. I'll pay you back when my tax refund hits, she said. The refund hit. My phone didn't. When? Chloe met Drew, The math got louder. He came to Thanksgiving with a monologue about sales quotas and a watch that paid for itself in the story. He called me Money Man and said, "We should invest together." I said no, and he laughed like I told. A joke. They took Mom out for dinner at places with white tablecloths and posted photos with captions like, "Family is wealth." I got the bill for Mom's dental work with no insurance discount applied. I paid it and ate leftover turkey for a week. When the engagement happened, I expected the glitter. I did not expect to get downgraded from family in the same breath as we're all in this together. But you don't become not close family overnight. It's a steady demotion, disguised as it's just easier this way. It's being the one who's always available until they need a better photo. After the just close family dinner news, I opened my spreadsheet to the tab named Chloe. I scrolled. There was the prom dress, the retake fee, the internet bill, the dental thing, the deposit, the quick borrow for lashes. You can't see the ring with busted lashes. F. It's tomorrow. The total sat at the bottom like a weight on a fishing line. I closed the tab. Then came the call you heard the end of. "The card didn't go through," Chloe said, breathless. "Did you forget to pay the bill?" I took a breath. "For what?" I asked, even though I knew. "The deposit for the venue," she said. "They were processing it from the dinner event manager. It's under your card on file." "What card on file?" I said. She huffed. "The one you gave for the engagement dinner." Duh, there it was. The part 1 didn't say yet. A week before, Chloe sent a breathless text. "Evan. Can you front the engagement dinner? Just a hold, we'll sell you right after." I said, "Send me the invoice. I'll pay the restaurant directly." She sent me a PDF. I called the restaurant. The manager sounded polished. "We can put your card on file to secure the private room," she said. "Final payment due night of." I said, "Okay, I did the adult thing. I didn't go to the dinner, just close family." Now the same manager had used the card to process a deposit for the actual wedding venue. Chloe had called it a hold. It wasn't. "I told you," I said, keeping my voice level. "No more charges on my card without my yes." Chloe's tone got sharp. "Don't be dramatic. It's just a deposit. You'll get it back after the wedding. Who signed the contract?" I asked. "Drew did. She said with your card." "That's not how weddings or cards work," I said. She sniffed. "The manager said it was fine. She said you were a gentleman." "I am not a card on legs." I said, "Can you stop making this about you?" Chloe snapped. "We're trying to build a family here." A few days later, she called again. Different tone now. Panic. "The card didn't go through," she said. "Did you forget to pay the bill?" I stared at my spreadsheet. I paid my bill 2 days early like I always do. The decline wasn't about my payment. It was about a new setting I'd added. After the engagement dinner, no charges over $500 without text approval. I told Chloe I did that. She called me controlling. I told her it would save both of us. "Didn't I warn you?" I said, "Not unkind." She exhaled like I'd slapped her. "So, you're just going to embarrass me in front of the venue. The manager is saying we have to bring a new card by 5 or we lose our date. Then bring a new card by 5. I said, "Mom said you'd help." She said softer, reaching for the usual door. "I have been helping for 10 years, I said. "This is me stopping the bleeding." By sundown, my phone had 12 missed calls from Chloe, 3 voicemails from Mom, 1 text from Drew. "If you mess this up for us, you're dead to me." I screenshotted that and put it in a folder called Save. Mom's voicemails were all the same melody, in different keys. "She's crying. Can't you just?" I know she should have asked, but she's fragile. "Family helps. Family." I started to type a long reply. I deleted it. I wrote 5 sentences instead. "I'll pay what I agreed to pay, not what I didn't. I'm not the emergency contact for your wedding. Stop using my card without permission. Any vendor with my card on file needs to remove it today. If you want help, ask with numbers and a plan." I sent it to both of them. Then I set my phone face down and washed dishes for 30 minutes like it was a hobby. The next morning, Chloe posted a story, a black screen with white text. Imagine having a brother who doesn't care about your joy. There were 47 crying emojis and one tag at Drew Drive Slux. I didn't reply. Drew posted a boomerang of champagne, popping caption, "Haters don't win." I counted to 10. It didn't work. I went for a run instead. By lunch, the venue manager called me directly. "Hi, Evan," she said cheerfully. "We're just reconfirming the card for the $6,500 engagement dinner balance and the $4,000 wedding deposit." I closed my eyes. Remove my card from anything related to the wedding. I said, "I did not authorize that." As for the dinner, I authorized a hold for the room, not the open bar and fireworks or whatever else got added. "It looks like packages were upgraded," she said delicately. "Congratulations to your sister." "Remove my card," I said again. "Please. Today." There was a pause then. Understood. I hung up and called my bank. I removed Chloe as an authorized user. Old mistake. I set a spending alert to text me if anything squeaked through. I emailed myself a checklist. Cards, vendors, conversations. It felt like making a fire break. And because people escalate when the ATM turns into a person, they escalated. That night, Mom invited me to talk it out over spaghetti. When I arrived, Chloe and Drew were there with a laptop open to a wedding spreadsheet. It had tabs like mine, but the numbers were fantasy. The top said, total $48,700. The column tagged Evan was basically a wish list. "You're labeled partner in love," Chloe said, as if that softened the math. "It's just numbers, Ev. It's just numbers," I repeated. "Cool. Then you'll understand when I move zeros." Drew leaned back, smirking. "We know you're a details guy," he said. "We need that energy." "What you need," I said, "is a budget." Mom wrung her hands. "Let's be nice," she whispered. "I am being nice," I said. "This is the nice version." Chloe threw up her hands. "Fine. If you won't help, we'll ask Dad." "Great," I said. "Tell him it's for just close family." She flinched. Mom said my name like a warning. I shut my mouth. The next day, I made an appointment with myself. Step 1. Stop invisible bleeding. Step 2. Put boundaries in writing. Step 3. Say them out loud with my calm voice. The breaking point didn't happen at a fireworks moment. It happened at a cake tasting. Chloe texted, "Hey, we're choosing flavors. Invite like we were all in a sitcom." 100 p.m., Saturday. She wrote, "If you love me, you'll come." I almost didn't. Then I thought about patterns. Patterns don't end on couches. They end in rooms where they usually grow. The bakery was a white box with gold chairs and a wall of fake flowers. A woman in pearls set down plates with tiny squares of cake labeled with flags. Drew filmed the spread like it was a car reveal. "No filming me," I said. "If I appear in any videos, take them down." "Relax," he said. "You look fine." "I didn't ask about how I look," I said. Mom smiled too brightly. "Taste the lemon," she chirped, shoving a fork at me. We sat. The owner started her pitch. Chloe interrupted to ask about tears and sparkler fountains. Drew asked about custom sugar logos. The owner smiled at me. "And you are?" "I'm the brother," I said. "No financial. Decisions will come through me." Her smile flickered. "Of course." Chloe turned to me. Immediate pout. "Don't be like this." "Like what?" I asked. "Petty," she said. "It's a cake. Be generous." I set my fork down. I am generous. You are counting on that generosity the way you count on oxygen. Drew snorted. "Bars?" he said like I'd freestyled. The owner waited, polite in the way people who need to get paid are polite. "Okay," Chloe said, clapping once. "Business. We're doing 5 tiers fondant gold leaf, the works delivery to the venue, and we'll put it on the card we have on file." "No, you won't. I said you will use your card." She blinked slowly, like processing bad Wi-Fi. Also, I said, pulling a thin folder from my bag because I am who I am. We need to clear a few things while we're all sitting. Oh my God, Chloe groaned. Did you bring a spreadsheet to a cake tasting? Yes, I said, and a plan. Mom touched my wrist. Maybe. Later. Now, I said softly. Before I get edited into a villain on a story with captions, Drew rolled his eyes. Make it quick. I looked at the owner. Give us 10 minutes. She nodded and walked to the counter, pretending to reorganize trays. I kept my voice low. Here's the list, I said, sliding a paper to Chloe. Remove my card from the venue file today. Close the tab labeled Evan on your wedding budget. I am not a funding category. Return any items purchased on my card after the engagement date or pay me by Friday. The amount is $1,840 done. I printed the list. Do not post my financial information. Again, I will enforce that. If you contact vendors as me or with my card, I will call them myself and cancel anything that mentions my name. Chloe's face went from outrage to red, to the laugh she uses when she's cornered. You really rehearsed this, she said. I did, I said. I rehearse before I say hard things so I don't say cruel ones, Mom whispered. Evan tone? My tone is fine, I said. Drew leaned forward. You think you can control the narrative? He said, people will think what they think. They will, I said. But my bank will think what it thinks too. Chloe picked up the paper like it was a dare. You're punishing me for a miscommunication. It wasn't a miscommunication. I said, it was theft wrapped in just this once. She blinked. Wow. Also, I said, because I brought this part for myself about the engagement dinner. You told me it was just close family. After I asked what time to be there, you knew. You let me put a card down for a room I wasn't allowed in. Her mouth opened closed. It was last minute. She tried. No, I said it was a choice. Mom started to cry because when the room gets hot, she turns on the water. Please, she said. Chloe didn't mean to hurt you. She's under stress. The wedding is so much. She's not the only one under stress. I said, I pay my bills too. Drew scoffed. You act like you're the only person with a job. I'm killing it this quarter. Cool, I said. Pay for your cake. He leaned back, smirking. I will. Chloe pointed her fork at me. You're making this about revenge, she said, because you're salty about dinner. This isn't about revenge, I said. This is about closure. I'm done being the quiet background thunder of your main character life. The sentence landed like a gavel. Chloe's eyes glistened like she might cry or might throw the fork. Drew exhaled through his nose. The laugh without a laugh sound men make when they think they're above a conversation. I stood. Owner, I called gently. She came back composed. Have we decided? Yes, I said. They'll choose a package within their budget and pay with their own card. We're done using mine, Chloe hissed. You're embarrassed. I'm preventing fraud. I said you do not have my consent to use my name or my cards. Drew pushed back, his chair. Are you serious? More serious than your down payment, I said. Then could feel my therapist in my head saying, easy. I looked at Mom. I love you, I said. I will always help you talk to a dentist or call the water company or fix your porch light. I will not fund a wedding I wasn't invited to plan beyond the part one already paid. What part did you pay? Chloe snapped. The part where I covered the engagement dinner room you hosted without me. I said, that's my gift. It's done. She went quiet then. Not the quiet of agreement, the quiet of calculation. She flipped the I might up paper over and stabbed the lemon square with a fork like it owed her money. Fine, she said. We'll figure something out. You will, I said, because that's what adults do. We tasted the cakes. The lemon was good. The chocolate was better. The owner took their card and swiped. It went through. The world did not end. The fake flowers did not wilt. We walked out into air that tasted like sugar and exhaust. Chloe didn't speak to me in the parking lot. Drew did. "You think you won?" He said low. "You'll see. I'm not playing." I said, "That's the whole point." The day after the cake thing, my phone started a new game. Ping, ping, ping. Missed calls. 7. Texts. 19. Emails. 4. The subjects formed a chorus. From Chloe. Wow. From Mom. Please talk to me. From Drew. Lawyer. From the venue. Card update confirmation. I put my phone on, do not disturb, and made eggs. I ate them standing up because sitting felt like therapy, and I didn't book that hour. At 10:02 a.m., Chloe posted, "When your own brother tries to sabotage your wedding, wrong, toxic." The comments were ruthless in a way that didn't make me feel better. Strangers wrote scripts with me as villain or hero. The truth was boring. I turned off a faucet, and people who were used to running it were mad. By noon, Mom had called 10 times. I answered on 11. "Hi," I said. She was crying already. "I don't recognize you," she said. "You're so cold." "I'm not cold," I said. "I'm done bleeding." "Words like that," she whispered. "They make you hard." "Numbers make me clear," I said. She sniffed. "Chloe says you told the cake lady they couldn't afford things. I told her to use her own card. She says you're humiliating." Her. She humiliates herself when she hands strangers my card. "Evan," Mom said, voice small, "can't you please give a little for peace?" "I've given a lot," I said, "for peace that never lasts." Silence. Fork scratching played on her end. She was eating stress toast. "I love you," I said. "I am not fighting you. I'm protecting me from your sister." She asked, incredulous from patterns. I said. She sighed. "Okay." We hung up. She texted, "Love you." 60 seconds later, I hearted it. The vendor call slowed. The owner emailed a receipt with a different last name at the bottom. The venue sent a note. "Per your request, your card has been removed." I printed both and put them in the folder labeled Wedding, not mine. Drew didn't call. He sent 3 texts over 3 days. Number 1, pick up. Number 2, you're ridiculous. Number 3, meet me Mantoman. I didn't. Chloe sent a long message about how I ruined the vibe and made things awkward with Mom. I replied with 6 words. "I love you. I'm not your bank." She left me on red and posted a photo of 2 champagne flutes clinking with the caption, "We keep moving." Good move. Work stayed boring in the way that saves lives. Invoices don't care who got left out of dinner. Numbers line up or they don't. I drank coffee, answered emails, ignored the itch to check my phone. I saw small signs that the world wasn't ending. Chloe asked a cousin for flower recommendations instead of me. Mom texted me a photo of a dress and asked, "Too much?" I said, "You look happy," she said. "Thank you for not telling me the price." I said, "You're welcome." On day 5, Chloe called with a voice I hadn't heard in months. Regular. "Hey," she said. "Hey," I said. So she said, "We figured out the budget." "Good," I said. "We cut the sparkler fountain," she said. "Like it?" "Cost her bone and the gold leaf, huh? Proud of you," I said. And meant it also, she added, so fast it almost wasn't there. I shouldn't have said, just close family. I was being mean. "I'm sorry." I leaned against the counter. "Thank you," I said. "That hurt." "I know," she said. "I pretended you were the ATM so I wouldn't have to feel like a kid again." The wedding budget got smaller. The cake is 3 tiers. Buttercream, lemon inside, no gold leaf. Chloe sent the order form with no cards attached and asked me to skim the numbers, not to pay. I did. She fixed what I flagged and said, "Thanks." Drew makes fewer family banker jokes. When he slips, she elbows him. Progress looks like that. Quiet. Ordinary. I don't apologize for counting. I don't hand out my card just for a hold. I don't. Except just close family from people who use family like a coupon. I'll show up to the wedding as a guest, bring a gift I chose, hug my mom when the music's too loud, and leave when speeches start turning into invoices. If you're the Evan in your family, try this. I love you. I'm not your bank. Say it calm. Say it twice. The ones who love you will adjust. The ones who loved your wallet will find another wallet. No revenge, just